I often think that I'm more of like a sheep, but I'm in wolf clothing. Like, I do things that I know bothers people, but it's my life anyway. Look, anytime you post a lifestyle and not just your business, people get mad. If you post beautiful women, or you post cool cars, or you post this, it brings out envy, and envy is one of the most powerful of what I call the 39 triggers, the cognitive biases of the brain. So you ain't have money, you have no freedom. I remember that life. It's like nothing, you're trapped. I'm a big fan. If you want to make money, you have to be a mad scientist. I tell people, launch 365 experiments per year in different areas. So all that was kind of an experiment, but it was authentic. Yeah, but I mean, honestly, in hindsight, my favorite business has been, I think personal brand, if you can do it, is so cool, because now I go to Iceland, it's business. So I think my favorite business in hindsight, because I've tried lots of stuff, huge e-com businesses, I've done real estate, I've done podcasts and all this. I think just a personal, if you can get, the ultimate is if you can get paid to just live life and film it. You know, that's, I mean, all the influencers now, I mean, Jake Paul was in my, Logan Paul is in my SMMA program, you know, my social media marketing agency. That one was super successful in terms of, I always say, I'll go head to head with any university or even any program in the last 100 years of what simple system took more people from rags to making 100,000 to $1 million a year as my social media marketing agency. It's insane. To this day, anywhere I go in the world, I was in England. I did a little talk and then a VIP dinner, and a guy goes, "Tai, you won't remember this, but 3 years ago in 2020, came to you and said, what's the next big trend?" I said, it's still social media marketing agency funnels. Made $13 million last year. He's 26. I always think it's funny that people thought my stuff's a scam. I'm going, $2 trillion is spent on college degrees. What percentage of Americans right now are getting an English degree at university? When you don't know what to do, you get an English degree. I met a kid. He was at a school, Azusa Pacific. They had a billboard in Hollywood. $42,000 a year. Okay. Azusa, it's not Harvard. Getting an English degree. I asked the dude, what language do you speak? What's your native language? English. I said, let me get this straight. This is the greatest persuasion. I got to meet these people. They convinced him to pay $168,000 to learn English. The dude's been speaking English from birth. I'm like, that's a scam. So I like the programs of mine that really got results for people. And then secondly, I like the ones where I just live my life and get paid. I don't think people realize how much is spent globally on school. Every year, trillions of dollars. I mean, the American GDP is 20 trillion. So globally, 1/10 of the American GDP goes to university. And what are the odds the way we're teaching kids now? And one of the biggest asymmetrical returns you can get that they don't teach at school at all is how can you walk up to somebody? It could be romantic. How many times has a guy seen the girl of his dreams walk by, want to talk to her, but social anxiety, but also didn't know the structure and the material? One of my most viewed is this Bitcoin pizza story I told in 2016. Bitcoin is 3,500. ETH was 195. These are the two that I think they have the strongest brand name. And so I'm bullish on crypto. Here's the thing. I do giveaways. Somebody would win in India and I'd be like, I'm going to send you $500. It's almost impossible to wire somebody $500. The US bank thinks it's spam. They block it. It ends up taking 3 hours. I pay a fee. He pays a fee. Instead of getting $500, he ends up with, $460, which is a big chunk for somebody like that. Now with crypto, I can just send it to them. They have it in 5 minutes. I can do it on Saturday. How come banks can take money out of your bank account on Saturday and Sunday, but you can't get deposits on Saturday and Sunday? It's bizarre. So I'm not a big fan of the idea that governments are going to take over cryptocurrencies. They're going to mess it up. So I do like tech. I think the money, this, you're a tech guy. You see the money. The asymmetrical return is turning things tech. Tesla won't just be a car company. It's a platform that people are paying monthly to use the tech, and other companies will build off that. ChatGPT is tech, and other people, Apple is building on top of ChatGPT. So if you can own the rails of something, so bodybuilding can become the rails, hopefully, that other brands could build off of. But I want to be remembered as somebody that cared about the good life. I call it the 4 pillars: health, wealth, love, happiness. How to balance those, man. Like, you can get so out of balance making money. I know, for example, I know a lot of billionaires. I'm in business with a couple guys on the Forbes list. I know them pretty well. I don't admire any billionaire really I've ever met. I would not exchange for their life. The thing is, to be that famous, like if you look at Mark Zuckerberg's it's a public company, Meta. He spent $32 million in 1 year on security. Being a billionaire, you got people threatening to kidnap your kids. So you really, there's this thing, I call it the efficient frontier, which is like a graph, or you can use this concept of diminishing returns or marginal reaction. So when you have no money, here's money and here's happiness, right? So you have no money. You don't have much happiness because you can't pay the bills. Your life sucks. So you start making more money and all of a sudden you're moving to more happiness and money's going up. But where guys go wrong then, especially men, it's more of a men problem, is they go, okay, if I make this much money, now if I double it, my happiness will keep, but eventually there's a marginal diminishing returns, or you move off the efficient frontier. And by the time you're a billionaire, to me, you're back. Now, maybe you're not as unhappy as broke, but you're not as happy as you were here. So humans, depends on who you ask. Great philosopher Schopenhauer, he says, or the pessimistic Schopenhauer, he said, humans are only motivated by 3 things: food, sex, and boredom. That was his thing. He wrote studies in essays in pessimism kind of thing. I think there's 4 things that motivate people. There are 4 M's. The first one is material things / money, mating / sex. Love, sex. The third thing is mastery / status. And the fourth is movement / freedom. Men use money to get them access to women. Whether it's not necessarily prostitution, but men who can provide get access to higher mate value women. Freedom. You ain't have money, you have no freedom. I remember that life. It was like nothing. You're trapped. And then you need money to have status in the modern world. Now, there's one exception. If you're perceived as a spiritual person or an artist. So I don't know if you saw that picture like 2 years ago or a year ago. It's Jeff Bezos, then the richest man in the world. He's got the new girlfriend. I forget her name. And then DiCaprio's there. They're at a house party. And somebody snapped a picture precisely when Jeff Bezos is here. She's looking up at DiCaprio like, looking right past the richest man in the world, because DiCaprio's worth 1 to 300 million. So status is a powerful one. The one time I ask questions that I don't always believe men's replies is if I said, for 20 years, you'd be a nobody, but you'd have 100 million. Or you can have 10 million and the world loves you. People don't realize, and I always get a kick out of people thinking I'm highly materialistic. Dude, if I knew I could excel in the other 3 and cap my net. I don't want to be broke. I've been poor and I've been rich. It's better to be rich. But if you cap me at 10 mil in my bank account, but I'm winning in those other 3 more than anybody in the world, I would take the other 3.